A new beginning. The Duggar family's next chapter. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For Duggar family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. It was an ordinary Tuesday morning in Springdale, Arkansas, when Michelle Duggar received a phone call that would change everything. It was her husband, Jim Bob, on the other end, his voice tinged with excitement. He had just seen a stunning property just outside the city, a sprawling 100-acre farm that was selling for $2.5 million. Michelle could hear the enthusiasm in Jim Bob's voice, but she felt a familiar mix of excitement and apprehension wash over her. The Duggar family had been in the public eye for years, known for their values centered around faith, family, and hard work. Yet, this new venture would mark a significant shift. They had spent much of their lives in the public spotlight, raising their children in the confines of their home and managing their busy lives with television appearances, book deals, and speaking engagements. But farm life? This was something entirely new. Michelle sat at the kitchen table, a steaming cup of coffee in hand, while her children buzzed around her. The thought of a new farm was exhilarating, a chance to start fresh and create new memories, but it was also daunting. The house they had built was a sanctuary of sorts, filled with laughter, love, and countless family moments. "Jim Bob, are you sure about this?" she asked, her brow furrowing in concern. "It's a big investment and a big change. Trust me, Michelle," he replied, his voice steady. "This could be an incredible opportunity for us. Imagine the kids having countless adventures, learning about farming, and spending time outdoors. We can even start a community garden and bring people together." The more Jim Bob spoke, the more Michelle could see the vision he painted, a vision of open fields, animals running freely, and children playing under the sun. After a few days of contemplation and discussions with the older kids, they decided to visit the property. As they drove down the long, winding road, Michelle felt her heart racing. The beauty of the land took her breath away. Rolling hills, vast fields, and a picturesque farmhouse stood proudly at the end of the driveway, like a beacon calling them home. Back at the house, the family gathered around the dining table, their expressions a mix of eagerness and nerves. Jim Bob laid out the plans he had been dreaming about, raising chickens, planting vegetables, and even creating a small pond for fishing. The children immediately chimed in with their ideas, their excitement palpable. "Can we have goats?" Jordan asked, her eyes sparkling. "What about a treehouse?" Jason suggested, already imagining the possibilities. Michelle couldn't help but smile at their enthusiasm. The thought of creating a magical childhood for her children was compelling, but what about their current lives? Would they leave behind their friends and the life they had built? After a long discussion, they collectively agreed. The risks were high, but the potential for growth and new experiences was even higher. Over the next few weeks, they worked tirelessly to finalize the purchase, with Jim Bob eager to turn this dream into reality. Michelle felt a mix of fear and excitement, but she trusted her husband's instincts. Once the deal was closed, the Duggar family set about relocating to the new farm. The day was filled with nostalgia as they packed up their home, each item telling a story. Michelle took a moment to reflect on how they had built their lives from the ground up. The family's history was rich with memories, and leaving their first home was bittersweet. The children were buzzing with excitement as they loaded their possessions into moving trucks. It was a new chapter, and they were ready for the adventure. When they arrived at the farm, they were greeted by breathtaking views. The sun setting over the hills created a picturesque backdrop that seemed like it was taken straight from a magazine. As they settled into the farmhouse, Michelle felt a sense of peace envelop her. The house, though rustic, felt warm and inviting. There were creaky floors and old wooden beams, but to her it was perfect. She envisioned family dinners with laughter filling the air and children racing through the fields. The first few months were challenging as the family adapted to rural life. They faced the usual hurdles of any move: unpacking, setting up new routines, and getting to know their neighbors. But there were also unexpected joys. The children were learning valuable lessons about hard work and responsibility. They spent mornings helping Jim Bob fix up the barn, afternoons planting seeds in the garden, and evenings watching the stars twinkle in the clear skies. However, not everything was smooth sailing. Michelle often found herself overwhelmed with the adjustments, longing for the familiarity of their old home. She missed her friends, the weekly routines, and the comfort of their previous neighborhood. There were moments when doubt crept in, making her question if they had made the right decision. One evening, sitting outside with a cup of herbal tea, she confided in Jim Bob. "What if we made a mistake? What if this life isn't what we thought it would be?" Jim Bob took her hand and reassured her, "Change is hard, Michelle, but it's also necessary for growth. We are building something special here. It won't be easy, but with each challenge, we will grow as a family." His words resonated with her, reminding her of the strength they had always drawn from one another. Slowly, she began to find joy in the new routine. The beauty of the land, combined with the opportunity for their family to bond, ignited a spark inside her. As the months passed, the Duggar family began to integrate into the community. They opened their doors for a family barbecue, inviting neighbors to join them in the sprawling backyard. The laughter and stories shared around the fire pit fostered new friendships. For Michelle, it was a moment of realization. This was home. The warmth and kindness of the people around them filled the void she had felt since moving. Inspired by their new surroundings, Michelle decided to initiate a community garden project. With the help of her children and neighbors, they planned a garden where everyone could contribute and share in the bounty. The project became a beautiful blend of coming together, creating something meaningful, and supporting one another. As the first crops began to sprout, Michelle felt a sense of accomplishment. This garden was not just about growing food. It was about nurturing relationships, building a new life, and fostering a sense of belonging. The Duggar children immersed themselves in farm life, discovering new passions along the way. They took on different responsibilities, each finding a role that suited their skills. Some found joy in caring for the animals, while others took to gardening like pros. Jinga loved spending time with the goats, often bringing them daily treats. "They're so friendly," she exclaimed one afternoon, her laughter echoing through the fields. Meanwhile, Josh began learning how to plant and tend to vegetables, inspired by the thought of sharing the harvest with the community. "I want to grow tomatoes that everyone can enjoy," he declared solemnly, causing Michelle to beam with pride. It was inspiring to see the children thrive in their new environment. With each passing day, the initial fears Michelle had felt faded away, replaced with a deep appreciation for what they were building together. As the seasons changed, so did the life of the farm. The Duggar family adapted to the rhythm of nature, embracing the joys of each season. They celebrated spring with planting, summer with harvesting, fall with community gatherings, and winter with cozy nights spent inside the farmhouse. Michelle began to see the larger vision of their new life unfolding. The farm was no longer just a piece of land. It was a legacy they would pass down to their children and grandchildren. The relationships they built with nature, their community, and each other would shape the future for generations to come. One day, as autumn leaves danced through the air, Michelle walked through the garden, feeling a profound sense of gratitude. She saw her children working side by side, sharing laughter and stories, and felt her heart swell with pride. Months turned into years, and the Duggar family established a new tradition, an annual fall festival to celebrate their community and the bounty of their farm. They invited everyone in the neighborhood to join, showcasing their harvest, sharing homemade goods, and creating a festival atmosphere filled with games, laughter, and connection. The first festival was a huge success, with families coming together to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Kids played games, adults shared family recipes, and Michelle felt a wave of joy wash over her as she watched the community come alive. This was what they had dreamed of, a chance to foster connections, support one another, and create lasting memories. As time went on, the Duggar family continued to thrive. Michelle often reflected on their journey, the challenges they faced, and the beauty they discovered in the process. The farm, once merely a property, had become a home filled with laughter, love, and resilience. Every corner of the property was filled with memories. From the vegetable patches overflowing with produce to the treehouse that served as a world of adventure, it was a testament to their hard work and dedication. Michelle and Jim Bob stood side by side, feeling an overwhelming sense of pride in what they had created. Together, they had embraced change, turned fear into opportunity, and forged a life rich with purpose and connection. This wasn't just about farming. It was about building a life rooted in love, faith, and community. As the sun set over the horizon, Michelle looked out at their beautiful farm, her heart full. It was a reminder that sometimes the greatest journeys begin with a leap of faith. And with every step they took together, they were rewriting the story of their lives, one filled with hope, growth, and endless possibility. Years later, as the children grew and started their own families, they made it a point to gather at the farm for special occasions. This farm had become their sanctuary, a place where traditions were born, stories were shared, and love was cultivated. Michelle often sat under the old oak tree, reminiscing about the early challenges and the joy of watching her children grow. In the stillness, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that the legacy of love, hard work, and community would continue on for generations to come. As the seasons changed and life continued to evolve, the Duggar family stood strong, anchored by their faith and their commitment to one another. This was not just a farm. It was their home, a testament to resilience, love, and the unbreakable bond of family.